on the northeastern shore of Kauai, the oldest and most remote of Hawaii's main islands. Something is being built that most people will never see. It sits behind 6-foot concrete walls. It's monitored by cameras and guarded around the clock. Everyone who enters, from electricians to security, signs strict non-disclosure agreements. Workers are separated. Conversations are limited. Even mentioning the project publicly can cost someone their job. The man behind it is Mark Zuckerberg, and what he's building here is unlike almost anything a private individual has attempted before. But to understand why this place exists, you first have to understand where it exists. Kauai is often called the Garden Island, a place known for dramatic cliffs, dense rainforests, and some of the wettest terrain on Earth. It's also the oldest of Hawaii's major islands, shaped by millions of years of volcanic activity and erosion. Unlike Oahu, home to Honolulu, Kauai has remained largely rural. Its population is small. Development is tightly controlled, and much of its coastline still looks the way it did centuries ago. That isolation is part of what makes the island so valuable and so controversial when large private developments appear. Because this project didn't begin all at once. It began quietly. In 2014, Zuckerberg and his wife purchased roughly 700 acres of land on Kauai's North Shore for about $100 million. At the time, it barely stood out. Billionaires buying Hawaiian land wasn't new. Figures like Larry Ellison and Oprah Winfrey had already done it. But Zuckerberg kept buying. Over the years, he added hundreds more acres, eventually surpassing 2,300 acres in total. His investment now exceeds $300 million. To put that in perspective, that's roughly comparable to the annual operating budget of the entire island's local government. And that scale matters, because land in Hawaii isn't just property, it's history. Many parcels trace back generations. Some include cultural sites, burial grounds, and areas considered sacred to Native Hawaiian families, which makes large-scale ownership more than a financial transaction. It becomes a cultural issue. The property has a name, Ko'olau Ranch. What's been revealed about it comes largely from investigations and leaked planning documents, because officially, very little is shared. At its center are two massive mansions, together spanning around 57,000 square feet, about the size of a football field. Inside, dozens of bedrooms and bathrooms, conference rooms, industrial kitchens, and private elevators. But what's more unusual is what lies beneath. Connecting the two buildings is an underground tunnel, and along that tunnel sits a 5,000 square foot underground shelter, complete with a reinforced blast-resistant door, its own living space, and an escape hatch. Zuckerberg has downplayed it, calling it just a basement. But it's not a typical one. Modern underground shelters, especially at this scale, are designed to survive scenarios ranging from hurricanes to supply chain collapse. Reinforced concrete, independent ventilation systems, and secured food storage are standard in high-end survival architecture. Some bunkers built for private clients can remain operational for months, even years, without outside support. Ko'olau Ranch appears to follow that philosophy. The compound is designed to be self-sufficient. It has its own water systems, energy generation, and food production. On the surrounding land, cattle are raised and crops are grown, part of an effort to create a closed-loop system capable of sustaining itself. That idea, self-sufficiency, is becoming increasingly popular among the ultra-wealthy. Private estates today are no longer just about luxury. Increasingly, they are designed to function like miniature cities, with redundancy built into everything. Backup generators, independent water sources, food storage systems, communication infrastructure. In some cases, private compounds are engineered to operate even if surrounding infrastructure fails. Above ground, the property feels less like a home and more like a private ecosystem. There are guest houses, staff accommodations, and a full wellness complex, including pools, gyms, and spa facilities. Security is extensive: cameras, keypad doors, and even hidden blind doors designed to conceal entrances. And then there are the treehouses. plans show 11 elevated, disc-shaped structures connected by rope bridges, allowing movement through the forest canopy without touching the ground. They resemble something from science fiction, but their design also reflects practical concerns: privacy, isolation, and adaptability to the surrounding landscape. New additions are still being built: large dorm-style guest buildings and additional facilities. The project hasn't slowed down, it's expanding. Construction on this scale can last years, sometimes decades, especially when the goal is permanence rather than speed. But the scale isn't the only reason people are paying attention. The secrecy surrounding Kauai Ranch is unusually strict. Workers are compartmentalized. Information is controlled. Even locals living nearby have only fragments of what's happening behind the walls. That secrecy has created speculation, sometimes exaggerated, sometimes grounded in documented permits and filings. And there have been incidents, including the death of a security guard on the property and reports of construction accidents, though details remain limited. Beyond the construction site, the project raises deeper questions. Who has the right to reshape land on this scale in Hawaii? And what happens when private ownership begins to rival public infrastructure? Zuckerberg's history on Kauai has already been controversial. In 2016, he filed legal actions to gain full ownership of land tied to Native Hawaiian families, a move that triggered protests across the island. Many residents saw it as an attempt to consolidate land that had been divided among descendants for generations. Public backlash was swift. Within months, Zuckerberg withdrew the lawsuits and issued an apology. But concerns didn't disappear. Some locals say ancestral burial sites now lie within the property. Access to those areas has become restricted, requiring negotiation. And with workers bound by NDAs, critics question how transparent any discoveries can truly be. For Native Hawaiian communities, land is more than territory. It's identity, ancestry, and memory. And when access changes, cultural continuity can be affected. At the same time, Zuckerberg and his wife have contributed millions to local nonprofits, supported housing projects, and preserved large portions of land from development. Some conservation advocates argue that large private ownership can sometimes protect land from commercial tourism or resort expansion. Others worry it concentrates power into too few hands. So the reality is complicated. Kauai Ranch exists somewhere between two narratives, one of stewardship and investment, and another of control and exclusion. But zoom out and a larger pattern appears. Zuckerberg isn't the only billionaire preparing for uncertainty. Across the world, high-net-worth individuals have quietly invested in fortified properties, from remote ranches in the American West to underground shelters in New Zealand. Some of these projects include private airstrips. Others feature fully stocked bunkers designed to survive long-term disruptions. The motivations vary. Some cite climate instability. Others point to geopolitical tensions, cyber threats, or pandemics. The COVID-19 pandemic, in particular, reshaped how many wealthy individuals think about risk. Global supply chains faltered, travel halted, cities shut down. Suddenly, the idea of isolation, once considered extreme, became practical. And increasingly, the ultra-wealthy are building places designed not just for living, but for enduring. Engineering these compounds requires a level of planning normally reserved for government infrastructure. Water systems must handle drought and flooding. Energy systems must operate independently. Structures must withstand extreme weather. Even landscaping becomes strategic, designed to reduce fire risk, control erosion, and protect water sources. Kauai Ranch reflects many of those priorities. Its location, remote, elevated, and surrounded by natural barriers, already offers advantages. Add reinforced structures and controlled access, and the result is something closer to a fortified settlement than a traditional residence. Whether Kauai Ranch is a practical safeguard or an extreme precaution depends on perspective, but its scale is undeniable. thousands of acres on one of the most remote islands on Earth. A self-sustaining private compound. An underground shelter hidden behind reinforced doors. All of it still growing. All of it largely unseen. And perhaps the most unsettling part isn't the walls or the bunker or the secrecy. It's the idea behind it. Because projects like this force a difficult question. What happens when the people with the most resources begin preparing for futures the rest of the world cannot? Is it caution? Is it privilege? Or is it a quiet acknowledgement that uncertainty, once distant, now feels close enough to build against? Kauai Ranch may never be fully revealed. Most of what happens inside its walls will likely remain private. But its existence is visible, not just in satellite images or construction permits, but in the broader shift it represents. A future where wealth doesn't just buy comfort, it buys contingency. And beneath it all, a space its owner calls a basement, built for a future he may never have to face, but isn't willing to leave to chance.